tweet it out.
I spent way too much time on what was the first? Yeah, Greenville and Richmond. I spent way too much time on that one.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Do, do, key. Perfect. Okay.
Are we going?
We are going.
Cool. All right, week 2 is in the books, and that means League One is on the case. So I am Rich. You can find me on Twitter at I'm Rich, but I'm not. Joined as always by the man next to me in your window, Brian. You can find him on Twitter at Mediocre Ace. Brian, how's it going, man?
Oh, it's going pretty good. It's been a crazy week already, but
Yeah.
looking forward to talking about the matches from last week and reviewing a little bit for this upcoming weekend.
We have a ton of information to go over. So get yourself comfy, get your favorite drink, join us because we're going to pop some open. We're going to get this party started.
Mhm.
Brian, what are you drinking tonight?
I have some nice Bush Lights
Hey,
here.
there you go.
Back on the Bush Light kick.
Yeah,
Um, didn't feel right. Didn't feel right the past few weeks just drinking water. So I'm back on it.
cool. I am finishing off those Modelos that I started on Sunday nights. So I got some
In
of that going for
Omaha
me.
corner kick.
Yep. All right, let me pop right into this guy.
Real quick, I was watching the highlights of the match, the Union Omaha match on YouTube, and somebody mentioned something about the corner kick sponsored by Modelo, and they didn't seem all happy about it, which I thought was ridiculous. I think that's one of the best traditions I've had or seen in a long time.
What were they
So
saying?
I just made like a cringe face about it, put like a cringe face emoji after the sponsorship. Corner kick sponsored by, and then like cringe face. I was like, no, it's a great tradition.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. People are weird. They like to pee in other people's Wheaties.
there you go. Yeah, that's a dumb take.
Bad take.
I'm 100% behind Union Omaha on that one, and Owen and the crowd getting that all going. It's a
Yes,
fun tradition.
my favorite tradition.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. So on the docket for tonight, we are going to be reviewing week 2 action. We're going to be
Mhm.
previewing week 3. We're also going to be talking about the US Open Cup matches that are heading towards us very quickly. And we have so much more to discuss. So if you are just tuning in, you're tuning in at the right time because we have a bunch of information to go over.
Yes, yes.
And
Too
before we
much.
get too far, Brian, cheers.
Cheers. Oh,
All right. First match of week 2 was Greenville hosting Richmond. This one is an exciting one. So if you just to before we get into the attendance and the goals, like the timeline, all that kind of stuff, if you have looked over uh, the history between these two clubs, before this match kicked off, they had faced each other 10 times, and only one time was it decided in a draw. So you knew that there was going to be another match ahead of you where there was going to be a lot of action and it was going to be a winner.
hmm,
If no one's going to draw, or at least no one wants to draw, someone's going to take advantage of that and someone's going to win. And in the 12th minute, Richmond scored the only goal of the match. So they ended up with a 1-0 victory off of a Carlton Belmar victory assisted by Nil Vignoles following a corner kick. So it was like a corner kick. It was a situation where they uh, their first corner kick was served like directly into the box and it was knocked out for another one. Well, instead of going for the lob into the box, they decided to go for a short pass, connected with Belmar. He blew past Devin Boyce and curled it into the back post, and that was your game winner.
Yeah. I mean, what a shot by Belmar. I mean, just the skill to get around a defender like Devin Boyce and take a shot from right inside the box to get it on that back post. I mean, hell of a job. Definitely a
Yeah.
goal of the week contender for sure. It was not something that you usually see against a Greenville team that is very stout on defense. So it was
Mhm.
a little shocking to see a breakdown of that magnitude um, for Greenville. But I mean, that shot was also is going to beat most teams. Just perfectly placed out and great all around.
Yeah, I agree. That was a beautiful shot on goal and certainly highlight worthy. Uh, yeah, don't come down on Greenfield for letting that goal in for too much, because that was a beautiful goal.
Hmm.
One of those where you kind of look at it and like, okay, yep, all right, we'll give it to him.
Yeah,
And good crowd at the stadium too.
yeah. 2,879 people out there in Greenville. That's actually, let's see exactly how many that is. That's almost on par with their average from last season. Last season, they were 2,850 as their
Okay,
average.
right on par. All right, that's not bad. I'll
Yeah,
take it.
not too bad.
And another congratulations is also in order. I don't know if we didn't say another congratulations, so whatever. Um, so sorry, I'm getting like simultaneous messages here.
You're good.
There was a congratulations in order for Tyler Pollock. He had his 100th appearance with Triumph. So that's awesome. The guy out of Lincoln, Nebraska, making his way to the pros by means of Greenville. So good on him.
Yeah, congrats to him. 100
Whenever,
appearances is huge.
yeah, I wonder if they did. I didn't see any sort of a celebration, but I wonder if they did one of those celebrations you normally see with like the national teams, where they give them like an encased like jersey or something like that to commemorate the achievement.
Hmm. Yeah, I wonder if they did. We'll have to ask and find out. We got a couple
If
contacts
not,
out
they
there.
should.
Yeah, definitely should.
And I think it's always funny whenever Greenville comes to Omaha because all of Pollock's family comes to Omaha to cheer him on from the stands, and they
Hmm.
all wear his jersey and everything. It's always cool. You can always tell where Tyler's family is at in the stadium because they're always together. They're always wearing his jersey. They're always cheering loudly. So it's cool. He's got a good supportive family.
Yeah, that's always awesome to see.
All right. So even though Richmond got the early goal, I still feel like overall for this entire match, Greenville put a lot more pressure on Richmond over the course of the 90 minutes.
Hmm.
Um, there were a lot of Greenville crosses into the box. They weren't necessarily able to finish those crosses, but they were feeding the ball into the box. They were trying to generate um, some production in that area. They just couldn't make it happen. And it's one of those things it's good that they were able to service so many balls into the box, but at the same time, you're wondering, I mean, what's happening up on the front edge? I mean, got to be able to finish some of those chances.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, traditionally, Greenville's not a super high scoring team anyway. But you have to expect them to be able to finish those balls, especially anything across the face of goal, which they had a few. But it's not like they um, it's not like they played horribly or anything like that. I mean, if you go through and look at the stats here, Greenville actually took 14 shots, with only two on target though. So that's the big number. They also, I mean, they tied with Richmond on shots on goal, on target. So um, yeah, you got to get more of those shots into the danger zone, and it's just a numbers game, really, at that point.
Yeah. And at halftime, you saw them come back onto the field and sub Devin Boyce off the field and sub in Jacob Labovitz. And
Hmm.
you had to think that was purely for offensive reasons. They had to generate some more offense. They had to get somebody in there, a proven striker, and Labovitz is certainly that.
Yeah, I mean that's a smart substitution. Boyce is one of those guys. I don't think he's going to score a ton of goals for them, but he's more of an impact player in winning the ball back and being smart moving the ball up the field, not necessarily scoring the goals. So, and when you got a proven guy like Labovitz, throwing him on the field as like a super sub makes Greenville rather dangerous, especially in
Mhm.
the second half.
And I think Richmond could sense the tone that Greenville was trying to set because Richmond set the tone themselves. As soon as the ball was played in the second half, Greenville had possession. They fed the ball way down the field, and Richmond's outside back Simon Fitch went right after Vinton Evans for that 50-50 challenge. And not only did he go in for that challenge, I mean that was a full on clothesline.
Yeah.
Um, you have to think that Richmond recognized what Greenville was going to come out and try to do, go straight for the jugular, and to set the tone like that and tell them you can try like hell, but it's going to be a you're going to have to fight like hell too. Um, that was pretty cool to see. That's one of those things that you see in the movie, like, oh shit, okay, it's going down.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm a little surprised that there was no card that came
Yeah,
out for that. Um, that didn't look like a inadvertent clothesline. That looked more like a,
yeah,
like you said, a tone setting clothesline. Um, but I guess, hey, let them play. I guess
yeah,
almost
yeah.
reminds me of if they had like, do you remember the game Blitz the League? It's like NFL
Oh
football where
yes,
there's no rules, there's no roughing, there's none of that. It almost seemed like that kind of play on the ball. So,
yeah,
but I mean, maybe the ref wasn't looking at it, or maybe they just decided to let him play. I guess, but
yeah.
um, crazy to me that that wasn't a yellow card.
I find it so funny that you bring up that game because I haven't played that in forever, but I know as soon as you said that, I knew exactly what you were talking about, and those tackles in that game were so much fun.
Yeah, and surprisingly, only four yellow cards for that entire match. Three for Richmond and one for Greenville. So ref was letting him play
Yeah,
with yeah,
and
and oh man, 28 fouls total as well. So
yeah,
did not want to pull the card, which hey, I like it actually. More power to him.
yeah. And soon after Labovitz was subbed on for Greenville, he hit the post and
Mm,
nearly equalized the effort. I mean, he had a great feed from Tevin Shaw there in the final third, right across the right toward the goal area. And
mhm.
Labovitz was right there to try to tap it in, but just went off the crossbar. Or was it the post? I can't remember.
Um. Oh, geez, I'm trying to remember.
I thought it was crossbar, but I could be wrong.
I
Either way, it
believe it
hit
was
one of the
crossbar.
posts.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't go in. That's the
Yeah.
moral. The moral of the story.
So, I mean, another moral of the story. I mean, Greenville outperformed on offense, and Richmond seemed to outperform on defense, and the stats seem to support that. There was
Mhm.
one surprising stat though. Richmond had 7 corners to Greenville's 4.
Yep.
Now, You also have to take into account that Richmond had 6 corners in the first half alone, and, I think Richmond even had 3 corners in something like the first 12 minutes of the match.
Yeah, it
It was
was
just
in very quick succession. Yeah.
yeah, they were just going.
Hmm. Yeah, they definitely came out with a game plan, and that was to try to take it to Greenville early.
Yeah, and Greenville looked good in their build-up play. Um, it was their actions and their play in the final third that was a bit lacking, which was, I mean, why they had to bring on Labovitz. We have to say it again. Um, so it's kind of I don't know if it's concerning to see Greenville playing like that, but um, I think there's well, we're just about to hit some of that information. I think there's more at play here,
Mm.
but we'll be hitting on that topic here pretty soon. But like we said, Richmond's defense was certainly outperforming, and their stats certainly showed it. They were bending, time after time. They never broke, um, and they were able to preserve the clean sheet. Now, we didn't see a whole lot of production on the other side of the field from Richmond's offense, which again can be considered concerning. But at the same time, they got their goal. They had the lead. They were just trying to preserve it, so they ended up with the 3 points.
Yeah, they did. I I don't know that would be too concerned about the lack of offense from Richmond. I mean, there hasn't been a ton of actual offense really this season yet. There's been, I think, one match where there's been more than one goal from open play for a team, and that was Charlotte, who played up a man for, you know, a half an hour or so. So I don't think it's anything to be too worried about. I think they'll get it figured out eventually as well.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, we saw everything kind of in full display. Greenville um, head coach John Harkes mentioned after the match that several injuries were in the squad and a lot of players were getting their first appearances. So that is also going to make it a little bit more difficult for any team, really, but especially a Greenville team who has so many guys that are veterans and so many guys that have played together that if some of them are injured or you have those few guys that you brought in getting first appearances, it's going to take time to gel. His system is that way that you have to play it perfectly, otherwise it just doesn't work that well. And
yeah,
that's a credit to Harks because he does find the players that can do it.
yep. And speaking of those injuries, if we went back to the 2021 season, there was a long spell in the middle of the season where they were dealing with a lot of injuries and it was impacting some of their results on a routine basis from week to week. In the 2022 season, there were also some rumblings of some injuries in their camp. And to hear them starting off this season with more injuries, do you think that's concerning?
Um, I don't know how concerned I would be if I was a Greenville supporter. Greenville has a lot of guys that are the upper side of their years for the league. Um, and I mean, it just kind of happens. It's one of those things that some teams just have an injury problem. They just get an injury bug, and um, you could maybe attribute that to practices maybe being a little bit too heavy or anything like that. I'm not saying that that's what it is, but that could be one of the things. And it kind of strikes me that John Harkes was probably going to run his practices like he runs his games. So um, maybe that puts a little bit more mileage on the players. But I mean, look at what they've done every year they've been in the league. I
Yeah.
mean, the results kind of speak for themselves. Maybe maybe you might be a little bit more injury prone, but you've never missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
So, and you finished in second place last year, second place the year before, first place the year before.
yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be too concerned if I was anybody supporting Greenville.
And Blue Penguin here in the comments raises a very valid argument, which we're actually going to be addressing here in just a couple minutes. He says Richmond is averaging one shot on target every 60 minutes, on shot every 36 minutes this season. So that sounds like a creation problem. It very well could be, and we have some more stats just to support what you were just saying here, just in just a couple minutes. So stay tuned because we're gonna be discussing that here pretty soon. I
Mhm.
love the comment though. That's a good one. It's leading right into some of the stuff that we're gonna be talking about. So to flip the script and talk about Richmond, for the second straight season, Richmond has started the season with a win followed by a draw. Prior to that, the last season Richmond did not experience a loss in their first two matches was 2016.
Yeah, that's a little bit of time.
Yeah.
uh,
All right. So now we get into the three stars where we let Brian take over and give us
Mhm.
his choices.
Yeah, so just going through our star system again. One star is going to be your top scorer slash outstanding goalkeeper. Um, your two star is going to be your highly influential player, and your three star is going to be the last player worthy of recognition. So the top scorer, I mean, the one star's got to go to Carlton Belmar. 90 minutes, he scored the match winner, 7 recoveries, and earned 2 fouls. So overall, not a stat heavy match for him, but you got the stat that matters. You scored the goal.
Yep.
A two-star for your highly influential player. I'm going to have to go with Venton Evans for Greenville. 80 minutes, 15 passes, 86.7% accuracy overall, which, if you listened last week, that's a big thing. If you can get that passing accuracy up around the 90%, that's on my list, that's going to get you pretty high. Uh, 9 of 17 in ground duels, 2 of 2 in air duels, 2 interceptions, and earned 3 fouls. Um, I mean, that's not so much on the ground duels there, but passing accuracy, very good. And playing
Yeah.
80 minutes, especially in midfield, definitely influential. And the last
And
player,
playing beyond getting clotheslined.
yeah, you get clothesline too. I think that, you know what, from now on, if you get clotheslined in a game, you're getting the two-star no matter what. I don't see it happening anymore, but hey. And the last one, oh, this is a tough one. There's definitely a lot of players that could be in consideration, but Neil Vigneaults, I think, is going to take this one. He played all 90 minutes, had 1 assist, 33 passes with 82% accuracy, 4 chances created, 3 of 3 on successful dribbles, 6 recoveries, and earned 5 fouls. And in a match like this, where it's kind of grinding around and the other team's kind of on the front foot and looks like they might have your number, stopping the play and getting it reset is definitely going to be um, something that your team is going to need. So,
Yeah. I like those choices. Those are good. There were some big names in there with some quality achievements. So yeah, I can understand why that was a pretty tough pick for you.
yeah, I mean, you could look at pretty much anybody on either side, really.
Mhm.
Somebody I do kind of want to highlight, and this might come off as a little bit homery, but um, Devin Boyce, seeing him back in League One, is a couple things. Confusing is the biggest thing for me. Um, Shocking and just good to see in League One. He did not miss a beat. He came right in and looked like the Devon boys that played for Union Omaha. Was in on excuse me, was in on pretty much every part of the field and never stopped running and never stopped trying to create. So he gets just a special shout out, and I don't care if you call it a homer pick or not, but I'll give it.
Awesome. All right. Let's move on to. Sorry, I was getting
It's all
another
good.
another message. All right, so let's get into some of the questions for Brian. All right, so
Oh
the
boy.
I'm gonna try to narrow it down to try to make it like one, maybe two questions for each club. So to start off with, let's start off with Greenville. So Blue Penguin, keep tuned in for like 5 minutes because we have that question for Richmond coming up next. So for Greenville, they had some subs. Obviously, we've already talked about Jacob Lavovitz coming on for Devin Boyce after halftime. You had Noah Frankie come on for Liam McKinnon about the 59th minute. And then it looked like there were three subs in the 80th minute or after.
Hmm.
Now, given the fact that Greenville was still trying to generate some offense, do you agree with uh, the decision to have three subs that late in the match?
Um, I mean it's still super early in the season, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure all of these guys aren't 100% up on their fitness. And like we kind of said earlier, sounds like there might be a little bit of an injury problem with Greenville. So
Mhm.
I don't see an issue with it. It's the first match of the season. It's a close match, but um, I mean, you saw guys coming on like Jonah Bigger for Benton Evans, um, who's pretty good in possession, um, but you need to get the ball up in the opposing half. Um, and I will say too, wasn't necessarily pulling out attackers for defenders, really. So it was just a different kind of attacker coming onto the field. So you saw the only defensive sub was Lucas Coutinho for Daniel Wu in the 81st minute.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all right. I don't have an issue with bringing on subs, three subs so late. And also it's John Arks. I think the man's earned some benefit of the doubt with what he's been able to do.
And there were some good subs that came in. I do have some concerns, about Greenville because of their productivity.
Hmm.
So for you and I in the outline here, I've put in their first 5 matches for 2019 to present. And to start off the season, they've had 2 seasons where they started off very strong, 2020 and 2021,
Hmm.
and then they had 2 seasons where they didn't start off as strong, 2019 and 2022. So, I'm kinda interested. I also listed the first 5 matches for Greenville. Now, after seeing them play against Richmond and knowing their first 5 matches of the season, uh, what are you thinking? Are we gonna see a 2020, 2021 Greenville, or are we gonna see more of a 2019 to 2022 Greenville?
Um, I think we're probably just based on the first 5 matches that they've had. Um, Obviously, they lose this one to Richmond. They have a bye week this coming week. Then they're at Tormenta, which is a tough match, at Madison, which is another tough match. But then they play Central Valley Fuego midweek and then at Lexington. to end that 5 match stretch. I see Greenville with this schedule looking more like the 2020 or 2021 Greenville.
Ooh, okay.
I
All
think
right.
I think Greenville is one of those teams that has been here before, and I think they're going to catch some of these other teams in a bit of a bind. So something like Tormenta. Tormenta is going to be tough, but what was proven before is that they're beatable, right? Um, and I think we saw that, especially if you can get some of their guys in trouble with kicking the ball away. I guess
Yeah.
um, Madison looks like a tough team, but Madison looks like a beatable team as well. Central Valley has made some more signings this week,
Yep.
which is a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie. Just release them before. Um,
Yeah.
and then Lexington, we don't really know about Lexington, but
Yeah.
Lexington does not strike me as a team this year that's gonna be super high on the finishing standings. Um, but yeah, do I think they're going to do as well as they did in 2021, which was 13 points out of a possible 15? Probably not that high. I would expect them to drop another one of these games, but they should be able to take care of business versus Central Valley and Lexington. That's already 6 points. So if you can grab a draw from Madison or Tormenta, that puts you at 7. That's closer to your 2019, but without looking at that 2019 schedule or really knowing the league at that point. Um, with this schedule, I think that's not too bad.
Yeah. All right. Saw that Zach joined in, put a comment in. Good to see you, man.
What's up?
All right. So, Blue Penguin. Let's talk about Richmond now. And we're going to talk about some stuff to support everything that you were just talking about with the possible creation problems. So, we've seen Richmond play twice, and they've only scored once. Do you think Richmond fans should be concerned? And I put some stats in there to help one way of your to support your case or to sink your case.
Um, hmm, do I think they're concerned? No, no, not necessarily. Um, I mean, if you look at them in the first 2 matches since the start of League One, 2019, they had um, 19 shots, 4 on target, and only 2 goals. 2020 was 16 shots, 2 goals. 2021, 21 shots, 3 goals. And then kind of the anomaly was last year, 23 shots with 5 goals. So if you look if you look at their track record, I mean, they trend more on the lower side for the first 2 matches anyway. And I think with somebody like Terzaghi, you got to give him a little bit of a chance to warm up. But when he catches fire, he really catches fire. So
Yeah.
I would not be too concerned. It's still super early. It's so hard to tell with any of these teams really at this point.
So the goals seem to be not far off from their usual count.
Hmm.
Does the total shots concern you? Because you did read those off,
Yeah,
and it went from a max of 23 shots in 2022 down to 8 this season.
yeah, it's definitely that part might be a little bit concerning. But then again, um, I mean, if you're getting the win, you got to win in a draw in your first two. I mean, 4 points out of a possible six, you can't really
Yeah.
complain.
Yeah. Points are points.
Yep, especially in this league.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to some club news. So earlier today, this one comes straight out of Greenville.
Oof.
They introduced the Lunar Kit, which is going to be paying tribute to South Carolina's contribution to the moon landing in 1969, and they're going to be honoring the Slater mill, which was used to provide fabric that was used for the astronaut suits. So the in the video that they posted, there's a quote in there that says, "From the fabric of Slater Mill to the fabric of our club, the mill that went to the moon." So pretty cool homage there.
Oh, beautiful kids. Um, I love the look of them. I think they're awesome. Um, I will give a shout out to Ross Davenport, who said in the comments they better make the something along the lines of they better make them the numbers visible on these. Um, so he's not going to let that one go, and I wouldn't either if I was in his position. So, but yeah, they're Greenville's put out a lot of kits that are focusing on the tradition of the area, and I love that.
Yeah,
Um, that's one club that does it really well, and actually kind of surprising to see the amount of kits coming out of Greenville. I was not expecting another kit coming from them. Usually, it's just one and two and done.
yeah.
But hey, I like them. A plus for
And
me.
you got to love how they have a jersey that pays tribute to the terrain of their immediate area. And now they're showcasing a jersey that showcases the terrain of an area which they have a history with now.
Yeah,
They're just all about topography over there at Greenville.
they do. They just love the maps. Love
Mhm.
them, which is fine. I mean, you do you.
Yeah.
Keep making
And
kits like
then,
that, and nobody will say anything.
yeah. And then Richmond announced some news. I think this was also announced earlier today, too. They are going to be participating in the finish line party to kick off Richmond's short track racing season. And that is going to take place tomorrow night, starting at 6:30 over at the New York Deli rooftop. And if you go there, you can party with some of the people from Richmond Kickers. I don't know if there's going to be any players or if the president or coach are going to be there, but there's going to be some Richmond Kickers people there. So you can go there to hang out. There's going to be a DJ, there's going to be music, there's going to be giveaways. Go hang out, have a good time, be with all your people. It's going to be a fun night.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, with that, I think we've exhausted the Richmond and Greenville match, so we can go ahead and move on to what was a sneaky good match,
Yeah.
Chattanooga and Northern Colorado. I'm going to go ahead and read off the attendance, which a big attendance number here in Chattanooga, 3,059. So that is, I mean, that's quite a bit. Their average last season was 2,346. So great to see them getting more and more people out to that brand new stadium of theirs. Um, super nice to see.
Before we get too far, we got some funny comments in the section here. Both Blue Penguin and Zach have good ones.
All right. Yeah. So Blue Penguin shouts out and says, really good kit. Speaking of Greenville's moon kit. And also says, a fake moon to go with their fake star. And in parentheses, still love our Greenville friends.
That's good. I like it.
Yeah. And then Zach coming in and saying, what tradition slash geographic area would you like to see Union Omaha focus on? As far as traditions go, I would love to see a Modelo kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, quarter kick sponsored by Modelo.
So if we're talking geographical stuff in relation to Union Omaha, why not do like um a rail track like kit
Yeah.
for Union Pacific?
Hmm.
I mean, it is. So I mean, technically it's in Council Bluffs, but it's still like the Omaha adjacent area. But that's where the transcontinental, tracks Met.
Mm,
So that'd be a cool jersey idea.
yeah, maybe a Desert Dome kit as well.
Desert Dome. We got the zoo, so there's
Yeah,
plenty of stuff to work with there.
yeah, paying homage to one of the best zoos in the world. Yeah.
You could have Chimney Rock.
Mm,
That'd be a good one.
yeah, there's quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm sure Jack could throw out some good stuff with all that.
Oh yeah, from what we've heard, they've got quite a few things up their sleeve this year. So,
Yeah. All right, let's get back to Chattanooga, Northern Colorado, because this is a good one.
oof. I mean, if you love seeing goalies do their thing,
Yeah.
this was the match to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, we talking about saving on this. Chattanooga faced less shots. Well, actually, Chattanooga, excuse me, faced more shots on target, which they had 8, and Lalo Delgado had 4 saves for um, Chattanooga Red Wolves, and Carlos Alvarez had 8 saves for Northern Colorado. I mean, that's insane. That's a lot of goalkeeping.
Yeah. So, oh, I think I had those.
I think yeah, it was
Yeah, I had
or
them mixed up. Lalo
strike.
was with
Yeah,
Northern Colorado, and Carlos Aviles is with
yeah.
Chattanooga. That's my bad.
That's strike that and reverse it.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
Um,
Uh,
uh, but I no joke, both of those guys were playing like, oh man, like it was their last day on earth. It was amazing to see these guys play.
yeah, standing on
Um,
their heads.
yeah, there was some good offensive production happening on both sides,
Mhm.
but both Lalo and Carlos, they were not letting anything go in, and it was so much fun. When I say that I love watching low scoring matches, it's this type of stuff that I love to watch.
Yep.
The low scoring stuff where there's no offense happening, that's not what I want to watch. I want to see guys defending huge efforts. I mean, this is where it's at.
Mhm.
For Saturday matches, in my opinion, this was the Saturday match to watch.
Oh, I agree. Watching it back was a good time.
Yeah.
And so you saw quite a bit of Northern Colorado with the ball and moving the ball really well. Um, had a lot of open looks
Mhm.
and a lot of shots as well. Northern Colorado took a total of 17 shots in this match, that opposed to Chattanooga's 7. So if that tells you anything about um, who was getting the ball into more dangerous positions, it was definitely Hailstorm. But interestingly enough, the possession was in favor of Chattanooga at 60% to Northern Colorado's 40%. So not only were they Northern Colorado getting the ball in dangerous positions, they were doing it quickly and without a whole lot of possession,
Yep.
which
Took the words
I
right out of my mouth.
I mean, I would not have guessed that based on last season. They have the players to do it, but we that's not something that we saw last season.
Yeah. So, a huge reason why they were able to move up the field so quickly, uh, comes back to a guy that all of you love to hear me talk about, Arthur Rogers. Um, that guy was taking long passes down the field routinely, finding guys, trying to keep the back line for Chattanooga honest and keeping them farther back on the field to generate more space for the offense to work with. And it was actually a really interesting dynamic to watch, especially because Amon Zayed started the entire match from the opening whistle in a 3-5-2. And that tells you right there that Northern Colorado is not going to sit back at all. They're going to go straight at you. They're going to try to take over your half and they're going to try to score as many goals as they can. And the offense that they were able to generate with that formation, and the direct passes into Chattanooga's half. Ooh, it was so much fun to watch.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean one of the big signings for Northern Colorado looked really good early on. Billy King, and I mean there was a lot of creative stuff that he was doing, along
Yeah.
with you saw a lot of good things from Irvin Para, and I mean this
Breck
team.
Evans.
Oh, Breck Evans. I mean this team could be a playoff team, a
Yeah.
sleeper playoff pick. Um, they got to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net, and so you got to wonder, was it a lack of finishing for Northern Colorado, or was it just this was the a day for goalkeepers?
I don't so I'm so glad that you brought that up because I am genuinely excited to watch Northern Colorado play this season. Um, Even watching like Jackson Dietrich uh, in the mix there at Northern Colorado, he had a great game too. Just seeing that whole team play with so much energy and um, man, they were fighting hard going up that field. It was just I'm sitting here, I keep saying that it was such a fun match to watch, but I mean it really, really was such a fun one to watch. It's one of those where I mean I've watched it twice now, and I'll probably watch it a couple more times because it was a really fun one to watch. There's so much to see in there that'll make you happy as you watch it,
Mhm.
which sounds really weird. I know the result, I know what's gonna happen, and yet I'm still watching it over and over. I mean, people watch movies over and over. Why not watch a soccer match over and over?
Yeah, I mean that's right up your alley, right? The
Mhm.
strong defensive battle, so I can
Yeah,
completely understand that. And I mean, as
yeah.
far as rewatching things, I rewatch the Greenville Omaha League One final match all the time.
That was a good night too.
It was pretty good. So
Uh,
we
Speaking
yeah.
of goalies, Owen, I don't know if he's watching or listening right now, or if he will here in the future, but yeah, dude, Owen, I bet he's the one that really enjoyed this one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he did. I
Yeah,
especially being a goalie guy. Yeah. And if you guys don't, I mean, this is probably a little bit more for the Omaha based listeners. If you guys don't listen to Owen, uh, their high school podcast about high school soccer, you definitely should. Um, the name is escaping me at the moment, of course, as soon as I start
isn't
talking
it
about it.
like Nebraska soccer talk?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah. Um, but yeah, they do a great job on that one too. So if you're in the Omaha area or you just want to hear about Omaha high school soccer, go ahead and give them a listen.
Yeah, yep. All right, so with all of the quality play that we are able to see in the 90 minutes of this match, now you are given the tough task of choosing your three.
Oh, um, so the single stars are top scorer or outstanding goalkeeper. I mean, you got to give it to both
Yeah.
goalkeepers, right? They both deserve it. I mean, uh, if you had to choose one, though, I got to go with Aviles. 8 saves, 5 saves in the box, 11 recoveries with 2 diving saves. I mean, well, you get 8 saves. That's insane.
Yeah,
Like, there's no way around it. But great job for both of them. They both deserve a
yeah.
shout out.
Carlos Aviles had that it was a corner kick and or no, I think Arthur Rogers tried to chip him and Aviles had a fingertip save. And then there was another one, Breck Evans, that was on the corner kick. The ball was loose in the box and Breck Evans was in there in the mix and ready to kick the ball in. And Aviles had to do a foot save. He had to do a kick save
Yes,
to
off
keep
the
the ball
line
out.
too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, great saves. Um, can't speak that guy's praises enough. So the two-star highly influential player Oh, let's go with Rich's favorite, Arthur Rogers. 90 minutes, 5 chances created, 8 passes in the final third, 6 recoveries, and was only dribbled past once and earned 2 fouls. And Arthur Rogers, defender of the year, defending defender of the year somehow. Um, Definitely making his presence felt. And our last player worthy of recognition. It's not a whole lot of guys with a lot of passing accuracy here, but I'm gonna have to go with Irvin Para. Played all 90 minutes, had 2 shots, both of which were on target. Which in a match like this, putting those shots on target and having them saved, I mean, at least he got those shots on target. 2 chances created, 2 out of 4 successful dribbles, and earned 1 foul. But still, all around a good game from Irvin Para.
Hmm. All right, so I just got done putting you on the spot with the player selections. Now I'm going to put you on the spot with some questions related to the clubs.
Here for it.
So for Chattanooga,
Hmm.
with all of the off-season turmoil, with the coach leaving, with I think they only returned 9 players to this year's roster.
Hmm.
So with this performance, did it do anything to curb your off-season doubts regarding their offensive production? Losing 3 of their 4 biggest offensive production makers?
Um, no, not particularly, to be honest. I still think they're a relatively unknown quantity in the league. They didn't even have the best offensive output in this match, so we don't really know too much about how they're going to play this year. We'll have a little bit better idea, but I mean, this was also against a very up and down Northern Colorado team, if it's the same team from last year. So, um, no, this really didn't change too much for me.
And let's go ahead and flip that switch and go over to flip the script and go over to Northern Colorado. Eamon Zayed started Northern Colorado in a 3-5-2, as we mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
And you obviously saw a lot of offensive production generated from that formation over at Hailstorm. Do you think this will be his go to formation for the rest of the season?
Formation ones are kind of tricky for me personally because a lot of these formations kind of do the same thing just in a different way. And I don't necessarily know too much about what NoCo played last year. Or did they play? I think they played four in the back last year, didn't they? Like a 4-4-2.
I believe so.
Yeah. So hmm, I think it'll probably be some combination of the 3-5-2 and like a fluid 4-4-2. I don't think there's very many teams in this league that hit a formation and stay in that formation for the entire match. I think it's pretty free flowing. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him start it, but if they keep getting as much production on the offensive side of the ball as they did in this match, 17 shots, 8 on target, it at least gives them something to think about.
Yeah. And Alex Ashton actually asked us a question. Do you have any thoughts or knowledge on Brandon Rojas? I'm sorry, Rosas, the new Northern Colorado signing. So this is a guy who is going to do some very good things over at Northern Colorado. He has over 100 goals in the Mexican divisions. Has a lot of experience in those ranks. I think coming into Northern Colorado, playing amongst the Hailstorm, playing amongst players like Irvin Para, getting feeds from Arthur Rogers, guys that are going to be pushing up the field like Breck Evans, even though they play on the back line. That's going to be, I mean, seeing him team up with those type of players, um, and to think of the potential of offensive production with him included in that mix, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. I agree. I haven't had a chance to um, look up much of his stats or anything like that. But the little bit that I did see just on Twitter earlier today, it looks like a great signing.
Yeah. Beyond that, I don't know a ton about him just because I don't know a whole lot about the lower divisions of Mexican soccer and all that kind of stuff. But seeing the stats that he has or what I have seen, yeah, there's plenty to be excited about. Oh,
Hmm.
excuse me, in Northern Colorado.
Yeah, I think so. Another thing to be super excited about if you're in Chattanooga, the team announced today the return of $2 beer night this weekend versus Central Valley, and it's all match long. $2 beers. Granted, it's on select beers, but I mean, the best beer is free, and the second best
Yeah.
beer is a cold beer. So, $2 beer night, you got one of the two, you got a cold beer. I think you'll be just fine.
Hmm. And then Northern Colorado announced that they have some new merch in their team store. So head over to the website, or if you happen to go to a Hailstorm match in person, definitely check out their team store. It says that they have plenty of discounts available on their team stores. So I personally have been a fan of some of their merch.
Mhm.
I may have to take a look at some of their stuff. I have not purchased any Hailstorm stuff yet, but those days are numbered because I'm definitely going to be buying some merch here pretty soon. I know that. So I think I put it on Twitter a month or two ago, but I'm planning on having the scarves behind me um, represent the current standings of the League One club in the current standings. So once I get at least a scarf from each of the clubs, you'll be able to see that the live standings behind me during each episode. But yeah,
I
we'll
like
take
it.
some time before I get those scarves in. It'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and something really cool. And I like the scarf wall behind you now, but do like that idea better.
Yeah, I've got like a Chicago Fire one over here. I've got a US Soccer one over here. So I've got another US Soccer behind here. So yeah, I mean I have, and then the others are Union Omaha. But yeah, I have plenty of scarves that I could put up. I sent you the picture of all the box full of scarves that I have.
You did. I was just about to say you'd have no shortage of scarves to be putting up on your walls. So
Yeah.
perfect.
All right, let's head into Tormenta versus Charlotte. This one, there's some topics of discussion here too. I think I have some controversial takes on this one,
Okay.
but
Okay.
to get into it, the final result was a 1-3 loss to Charlotte. So Charlotte won 3-1. Um, so Tormenta was hosting. They lost at home. I think it was their second loss at Tormenta Stadium.
First one.
First one? Okay, first one.
First loss at their new stadium. Yep.
Okay. Still pretty good attendance though. Not terribly outside of the norm for Tormenta Stadium. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're correct. Tormenta usually draws about 1,048 people. At least they did last year. So still a little bit below their 2021 average, but it's also spring break and
Yeah.
all that, and it's a college town, so you got to take um, that attendance number with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
Plus, there was
And
also a hefty lightning delay in that match
true.
anyway, so
Yeah.
there could have been some people that said, "Nope, I'm not waiting around for an hour and a half to watch the match."
True. Good thing they don't live in Tucson. I love how that's going to turn into like an inside joke among League One fans now.
Yeah, until they come back up, yeah.
Yeah. And so, despite the fact that they had the weather delay, despite the fact that they had these conditions they were working against, they still had a pretty good atmosphere there. And
Mhm.
so, from a personal perspective, one of the things that I really liked about their environment was, the fact that they still had that college drum line come to provide some beats for the match. And a lot of people may like snares and the quads or tenors, but for me, it's all about the bass drums. And you could hear them loud and clear in the broadcast, and I was loving it.
Mhm.
I am here for the bass drums. That's cool.
Yeah, and they did show a close up of the Tifu that their supporters did. Um, I just want to shout that one out because it was very, very well done. Each of the club crests were, I swear, it was like you put a sticker of the club crest on that thing. So cool to see, and they made sure to add the stars over the teams that have won, so
Good.
including their own, but very good. And that's one thing that annoys me. We see that um, on some of the promotion stuff. Not all the teams are getting their stars above their crests. So
Yeah.
when they actually put it up there, that deserves a shout out.
Yep. I think I told you some behind the scenes stuff. If not, then I will share that after the show. But there's a joke that I learned about here recently.
Okay. All right.
Um, but getting into the match timeline, scoring started in the 6th minute
Mhm.
when Charlotte's Brad Dunwell was assisted by Dane Kelly for the opening goal. I was not expecting. So Dane Kelly, did he score in the first match?
He did not.
Yeah, that feeds into exactly what I was thinking. I was not expecting Dane Kelly's first tally on the score sheet to be an assist. I was
No.
expecting him to start off with a goal.
Yeah, come in and just do what he does. But
Yeah,
um, part of me wonders too, with the with his pedigree and what everybody knows that he can do. I wonder if teams are kind of keying on him, and maybe that is having to do with some of these other guys getting, you know, getting some looks. So, and I mean, you have to when you have the pedigree of Dane Kelly. I mean, if you can't beat him, you got to double him. So,
exactly.
um, I think that probably has something to do.
Yeah, and then just before halftime, Makwele Akale scored his. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous goal. It was an unassisted free kick that made it up onto Sports Center. I think it was number 8 on Sports Center.
I don't remember what I remember seeing it was on Sports Center, but I don't remember the
Yeah, but beautiful free kick,
number. Hmm.
upper 90 on a free kick, went right over the wall, straight into the back of net. Just a beautiful, beautiful goal.
Yeah, keeper didn't even move, and
Yeah,
I mean, even after he, you know, just watched the ball sail in, even he had to just give it up. I saw a little head like, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" Just great kick. So
yeah,
good to see game recognizes game on that one.
yep. And so now we kind of hit into the critical events because in the first half there was also a yellow card in the 24th minute to Preston Kilwine. He
Hmm.
had a tough challenge on Gabriel Obertan, completely deserved.
Yep.
It was 100% a yellow card. Well, after halftime, they come back, and in the 52nd minute, Kilwine was given his second yellow because of time wasting tactics, where he kicked the ball away when play was stopped, and he was given his marching orders.
Such bullshit, man.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I know I talked about this on the reaction show, but geez, how do you? I swear, the ref had to have forgotten that the yellow card was already issued because
yeah,
at no point should you ever, ever get a second yellow for a time wasting thing.
yeah,
And I mean, rewatching that call today, um, I don't think that the referee realized. And then when she walked over to give the second yellow, was like, "Oh shit, I've already given you a yellow card. Well, it's too
Yeah.
late now," and had to send off. I don't know that it would have changed too much of the outcome.
Really?
Um,
Okay. That's okay.
I mean, I know Killline is a tough defending presence,
Yeah.
but it didn't look like Tormenta was going to be in control even um even after up to that point. It looked like Charlotte was able to break down Tormenta where they were kind of hurting. So um maybe not a 3-1, but I think Charlotte probably would have gotten at least one more, even with a full strength Tormenta squad out there.
Ooh, I like it. That's a spicy take.
I mean, and
Um,
that's coming from me, who is not that high on Charlotte this season. Um, they just look like the better team.
because the reason why I was surprised that you would say that you thought Charlotte was still going to win, um, I mean, it was tied 1-1 at at the time, and within, I mean, less than 10 minutes after the red card,
Hmm.
Charlotte took advantage of that in the 60th minute, and they scored a goal, Shalom Duty,
Hmm.
unassisted from close range. It
Yep.
was after that corner kick.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. That just have a feeling, I guess.
Yeah,
Can't quantify it, but just kind of watching it and then rewatching it a little bit today, it just kind of one of those feelings that it would have ended similar.
yeah. And then in the 83rd minute, the third and final Charlotte goal was scored by second half substitution Corey Bennett, who was assisted by Joel Johnson. And Corey Bennett took the ball. He took a pass from Johnson at the center of the box and fed it to the lower left corner. So that solidified the 3 goals and the 3 points.
Beautiful, another beautiful goal. I
It
mean,
was,
the
yeah,
it just floated it, just a perfect header right over top the keeper. Perfect.
yeah. So with the Charlotte win, it's they finished atop the League One standings here in Week 2. They have not been at number one since Week 8 and Week 9 of the 2022 season. So it's been a little bit of time since they were last
Hmm.
at the peak.
Yeah. Um, I mean, when you look at what exactly happened in the first half, um, Tormenta picked up a lot of that momentum um, with about 5 to 10 minutes remaining in that first half and created some excitement. But then, I mean, nothing, nothing really outside of that um, Kile goal. But also, that's just kind of how this team is. They can be very hot and cold at times, but when they are on their game, they are one of the more exciting teams to watch.
And we're kind of going to go back to the topic that you were just talking about because even when Charlotte was up a man and they were they had the second goal that
Hmm.
was going to, obviously carry them to victory as it was, for the rest of the second half, I'm still not entirely concerned. I'm convinced that they were generating quality opportunities on offense and they were able to make something happen in the final third. Yes, they scored another goal to put the match away, but this is one where even with a man down, Tormenta was still carrying a heavy load and they were fighting tooth and nail for this one.
Hmm.
Look at possession. Tormenta had 53 to Charlotte's 47. Passing accuracy, Tormenta had 89 and Charlotte had 83. Shots, Tormenta had 12, Charlotte had 8. Um, I mean, if you look at the stats and you break them down, I mean, I can go into further detail here. Charlotte was actually the lesser team in this match, and Tormenta played, uh, I don't want to say, uh, an entire half a man down, but the greater portion of a second half down a man, and they were still able to achieve these stats. If you are Charlotte and you are up a man, you should be dominating stats. You should be dominating possession. You should be dominating passing accuracy, shots on goal, chances created, passes into the final third, everything. You should be generating so much offense that Tormenta would be just completely eliminated from the match. And seeing their performance in the second half, I'm not convinced that they did so.
Yeah, I I, I can see the point that you're making, and it's good points. But at the same time, Charlotte was the team that did grab the 2 goals to win the match, and especially on that second or their third goal, excuse me. I mean, that was about as clinical of a build up play as you can have. You push the ball out wide. The guy takes 2 touches and puts a beautiful cross into the box and a beautiful finish by Corey Bennett. I would argue that Charlotte was the more clinical of the teams, if not stat wise the best team. But
Yeah,
I mean, they finished, and that's something that you have to do in this league. There's teams in this league that you can play all the defense in the world that you want, but if you can't finish, you're not going to win matches.
exactly. And to support you there, this is one of those matches where you have to take your eyes out of the microscope and look at the bigger picture because like you said, Charlotte got the 3 points. They got the 3 goals, they got the 3 points, they got the win, they're leaving town, they did what they came to do. For me to sit here and look at those individual statistics, yeah, it can show that there are some problems, that may come back to bite, Charlotte down the road. But here and now, this is what we're talking about, week 2 of the season. We don't know what's happening in the future, but here and now, Charlotte took care of business and they got their 3 points.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to the candidates. So Brian, while you do that, I'm going to grab my last um, Modelo. So I will be right back. Just give me a minute or two,
Yeah. No
and I'll
worries.
listen to your candidates while I do that.
Yeah. No worries. We will go ahead and jump into our star performers. No, jeez. First star, single star, top scorer, outstanding goalkeeper. This one for me, uh, I'm gonna have to go with Akale. I mean, that that set piece goal, man. That's goal of the week, and I don't care what anybody else says. Beautiful. Also to back that up, that was in 66 minutes. He also had 85% passing accuracy, 79% of which in the opponent's half, and earned 3 fouls. Um, Beautiful goal. So he gets my top scorer, number 1 star. The 2 star for my highly influential player. This one, let's go ahead and take a look. There's not anything, we're going to have to go with Kingsford Ajay. He's 56 minutes, 24 passes, 92% passing accuracy. And again, like I said on the last one, 90% or above is going to get you in that highly influential player spot. 5 of 6 on successful dribbles, 5 recoveries, 7 out of 10 in ground duels. So there's 2 Tormenta players there on this. So I don't know if that says more, if that hurts my argument about Charlotte being the better team, but it is what it is. And the last player, the 3 star, worthy of recognition. Um, you know, let's see. I'm going to go with Clay Dimmick. 90 minutes, 41 passes, 78% accuracy. Oh, not great there, but still not bad. 6 passes into the final third, which is huge. 5 of 8 on tackles, 7 recoveries, and 11 of 12 on ground duels, 1 of 1 in the air, and absolutely dominated that left flank and corner. So if you can take over a match, especially if you can shut down one side, I mean, you're getting some recognition there.
All right, I love it. Those are good picks. I was looking as you were talking about that stuff, and I was thinking, "Ooh, I don't know which one he's gonna pick."
Yeah, that one was kind of tough, to be
Yeah.
honest.
All right. So for Tormenta, with the U.S. Open Cup match right around the corner, and more matches, more league matches ahead of them,
Hmm.
how do you put this result behind you, regroup, and prepare for those matches, the U.S. Open Cup and the future league matches? Do you have any unique like team building ideas? I mean, what kind of things would you want to see them do?
I mean, it's still early in the season, and I think everybody should be up for the Open Cup. They know after watching the success that all the League One clubs had in the Open Cup last season, you should be going into it as a League One side thinking I can make a run in this, and that'll set me up for success in the future. So, I mean, I don't. And Tormenta is one of those squads that hasn't changed a lot. They've changed a little bit, but their core is still pretty much all there. So, as far as that, I think you just go through training and you make sure the guys know that, hey, this is something big for us. Uh, I mean, you got to remember too, the furthest squad from each division gets a $25,000 bonus.
Yeah.
So that enough should be that should be enough to get anybody up for a match.
So nothing special, just be a goldfish.
Pretty much, yeah. Just
Yeah.
let it go. Realize it's early and take care of business. On to the next one.
Yeah. They're pro athletes. They're used to putting the previous result behind them and focusing on what's ahead of them. So,
Yep.
yeah, I understand that take. All right. For Charlotte, we saw Corey Bennett come in the second half. He scored
Mhm.
a goal, the beautiful goal that you talked about. With the US Open Cup match approaching, do you believe that Corey Bennett should start and provide some sort of rotation with Dane Kelly and Gabriel Oberton um, to give them some rest beforehand?
Um, I think my answer to this one's going to be pretty much the same as the last one for Tormenta. I mean, it's so early in the season that if you're already worried about guys having 70 to 80 minutes, I mean that does not bode well for your team for the rest of the year. That being said, Corey Bennett's been an impact player every time he's stepped onto the field. So if it's one of those things where do you want to have a guy that's come in and been impactful, or do you want to have your two stars out there? But that being said, too, Dane Kelly has also gotten assists as well. So, and then we all know what Overton can do. So I don't think you need to. I think if you're getting to the 50th, 60th minute and there's not been a whole lot of production from those guys, that's when I think you bring on Bennett and a guy that we know can score and we know can play. So why not have him as a super sub? That's what I would do.
Yeah. And we're certainly going to be discussing those US Open Cup matches here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that kind of action too.
Mhm.
There's an interesting promotion happening over at Tormenta for this weekend's Northern Colorado match. So they just had the storm delay at this match. Then they're playing Hailstorm at their next one. So there's an overlapping theme of storm involved here.
Mhm.
So they're going to call this one the Storm Showdown. Also, because I think when Darren was on the show, he talked about the Ibis and its importance within a storm, as well. So there's that inclusion to the factor here too.
Hmm.
So the quote from social media from Tormenta was, "Purchase a ticket to this weekend's Storm Showdown versus Northern Colorado and receive a free ticket to a future match if it does not storm on match day."
That's nice. I
Yeah.
like that. It's a good promotion.
It kind of goes with Ford Madison's buy one get one.
Hmm.
I can't remember what the theme of that one was, but it was in line with that too, wasn't it?
Um, I believe so. Was that the guaranteed winner one?
Oh, is that what it was?
I think the only one that I remember from Ford Madison was like a guaranteed win, and if they don't win, you receive a ticket for their next match.
That's what it was. Yep, you're right. That's
And I think
exactly what it was.
and I think they play Greenville at home for their first home match. So okay,
Yeah, it's true. They do.
okay, sure. But this one, I like it. I like the name Storm Showdown. It's only fitting for these two teams, and
Yeah,
I mean Tormenta does it right with their social media and marketing team. So
yeah,
hats off to them.
yeah. So, I mean, why not buy a ticket? I mean, you're probably going to go to the match anyway, so just get a ticket,
Hmm.
win the lottery, and you get another ticket. So, yeah, what's the worst going to happen? You get to sit there and watch the match live.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
See, yeah, seems like a good problem to have for sure.
And I couldn't find any news coming out of Charlotte, so we'll
Uh,
skip past them and go
that's
right
unfortunate.
into, yeah, and go right into Sunday's match, which was Union Omaha hosting Forward Madison.
Hmm.
And I know that we spent quite a bit of time talking about that on Sunday's reaction show, but we can talk about that some more here.
Hmm. Yeah. Attendance was 1,913, and that's well below Union Omaha's average of 3,407. But a couple different things working against Omaha in this one. Um, what 2.5 inches of snow, something like that, fall
Yeah,
between midnight and 10 a.m. the day of the match. With the club putting out that if you showed up with a shovel and helped move snow off the field, you got a ticket to a future match. So a lot of people came out. Check Omaha's social media for a video of all the people that came out to do that, and it looked great. The field did look really good.
Zach was
Um,
there. He's
Zach was
watching
there.
right now. He was there.
Zach was
I saw
there.
him in the video.
Yeah, and so they had that working against them. They also had Creighton in um, their Elite Eight match going on at the same time, which around here, Creighton is a huge draw for a lot of people. And plus, it was kind of cold and windy that day. Um, Somehow, I saw a lot of people saying they got sunburnt. And I know even Michael Sharp said something to us on the reaction show saying that looks like we got sunburnt, but I don't know. Some people did.
Yeah,
But yeah, so, and a new venue as well. It was at UNO's campus. So, Um, I expect Omaha's attendance to be quite a bit higher in the future. But still, not a bad crowd. A lot of Flock supporters came out. Um, I listened to Talkin' Flock earlier today, and I think they said they had like 35 to 40 people on the bus. So
makes sense.
yeah, they came
That's what
down.
it looked like.
They came down in force, and they were loud, and good on them.
Yeah. And from the opening whistle, man, they were loud and they were energetic and they were upbeat. I mean, yeah, having the flock there was a lot of fun. I didn't get to spend any time at the tailgate. I had to rush into the stadium to get some work done, but seeing the energy that they brought into the stands, I was able to watch them. So I was able to see the flock from my right, and then I was able to see Parliament to my left, and so I was able to watch them both throughout the match. And I'll tell you what, man, Flock brought that energy. Some of the beats that they brought too, the up tempo cadences that they were using,
Mhm.
I like that stuff. That was cool.
Yeah, they've been around the block a few times. That's for sure. Um,
And for 30 to 40 people, they were loud.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, let's go in here. So the match ended in a 1-1 draw. Um, Tough game. If you're either one of these teams, one of the most entertaining games, I will say, in League One this season, if not the most entertaining. Um, and two pretty evenly matched teams. If we go through the stats here, if we go based on shots, Forward Madison's 14 to Union Omaha's 10. Shots on target, Madison 5, Omaha 4. Pretty even possession, 52% possession for Omaha versus 48 for Madison. And passing accuracy, 81-82. And a lot of fouls, 14 fouls on Union Omaha, 8 on Forward Madison, 3 yellow cards Omaha, 2 yellow cards for Forward Madison. Um, that's It was one of those matches where, in my opinion, Omaha looked like the better squad in the first half, and Forward Madison made adjustments at halftime that really hurt Omaha. Um, so in the I will say, I guess I should talk about the scoring here because in the 20th minute, a corner kick came in presented by Modelo that JP Skiers put into the back of the net. Just a very well executed corner, and somehow the man who only scores goals with his head gets gets open on a corner kick. Just somebody fell asleep on that Madison line.
Yep.
Um, and then really up until halftime, not there was a couple scary instances. Madison probably could have tied it up in the first. Don't remember the minute that was. Let's see if it's on here anywhere. No, it's not. Okay.
It was probably just after, oh, it was right around the 30th minute. Let me see here. Um, yeah, Nazim Bartman had a shot on goal from the center of the box, almost assisted by Christian Cheney.
Mhm.
But that was one where um, Nuhu had to really work for it. There was another one that came in the very next minute by Derek Gebhard. I mean, he had a right-footed shot that was saved. It was just that was a busy time for the Union Omaha defense.
Mhm. Yeah. Blue Penguin here saying pick a minute. They were dangerous all match. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no
Um,
kidding. If we're if we're being 100%, oh, sorry, let's go ahead and go into the second goal here for with Madison here too.
mhm.
So Madison scored in the second half, and oh,
55th minute.
yeah, 55th minute. Let me
Christian
get
Cheney.
there.
Um,
Yep.
Christian Cheney on, I mean, I don't know how he made this shot. Um, Falling down, it looks like, in my opinion, all right. So, Rob over at Talk and Flock, you probably disagree. Actually, I know you disagree because I listened to you talk about it earlier today. That was a lucky goal. There is no chance in hell Cheney was actually trying to put the ball in the back of the net. He was trying to kick it towards the net and pray that something happened. Um, that being said, he did, um, and then hit a backflip celebration right in front of Parliament. And not cool, man. Not cool.
But if you're gonna celebrate in front of your rivals and have a damn good time. So
Yeah, as
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't.
as long as you didn't play for the team you're celebrating on, do
Yeah,
it.
or you don't go into their technical area.
Yeah, don't do that. Airplanes.
Yeah, don't do any of that stuff. Okay, so if we're being 100% honest here, do you think that this win was a victory for Union Omaha?
I don't know if I think Omaha played well enough in that first half that they should have put more than one goal in. That being said, Madison probably should have had two or three of their own. I think this was an evenly matched battle between two teams that are going to be very competitive this season. Um, but that being said, I think Forward Madison in this game played past their potential. I don't think this is something you're going to see Forward Madison do on a week to week basis. I think this was a one off against a rival team. And I still think Forward Madison is going to be good, but I don't think this is going to be the same team that you see the entire season.
Hmm, interesting. All right, so just speaking on in terms of this match, I think Ford Madison should have won. I'll say it. In my opinion, the draw for Union Omaha is a victory. I I agree with you. I think there were other chances that Union Omaha should have scored. I also think there were plenty of other chances for Ford Madison that they could have put away as well. I think Ford Madison had more better chances, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah,
Um, and I think Union Omaha fans should be happy that this one ended in a draw. I'll say it. I'll say it. I think Ford Madison was the better team on Sunday afternoon.
interesting.
I will
Uh,
also say this, and a little bit of self promotion here. I do have an article coming out tomorrow morning, so Thursday morning, for Who Gives a Hoot, where I discuss the tactics behind Union Omaha's 4-4-2, where they go into a diamond shape in the midfield, versus Forward Madison's starting formation and then going into a 5-3-2 on defense, and how well they melded those two formations together throughout the match. So a little bit of self promotion. Look out for that article tomorrow. It'll discuss some of those tactics a little bit further. But looking at the footage and seeing the high camera angle of the formations and what Madison was able to do, I I think Madison was the better team on Sunday afternoon. I hate to say it, but yeah, I'm going to say it.
sure. Yeah, I mean, I buy that. I buy that in the second half for sure. Yeah, I mean, I have no problems with you saying that for especially with that second half. Omaha looked very gassed and like they could not figure out how to break down Madison's defense at
Yeah,
all in that second
yeah.
half. And I made the comment on Sunday night that Union Omaha didn't seem like they got a whole lot of balls in on crosses in the box in that second half at all.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I think it was like three that we had, and only one of them was successful.
You could
So
be right. I could look at that real quick, but yeah, I think
I,
you're right.
I think it was something around there. But I mean, I know only one of them being successful is right. But I mean, it completely flipped. It was Madison came out in that second half, and they knew exactly how to hurt Union Omaha, and they did.
Yeah.
Um, and then Blue Penguin here again saying, knew who saved us. I think the defense was trying to figure out their identity. Madison just didn't take advantage of it. And I mean, that's true. For as good as Christian Cheney did play, he did miss or have saved three shots. So, I mean, you got to be able to finish, especially when you're brought in as the guy, the signing for Forward Madison to score goals. He scored one, probably should have had two more.
Yeah. And we talked about the dark arts of soccer plenty of times on here. When you saw Christian Cheney getting as wound up as he was, would you have liked to see Palacios? Would you have liked to see Swahi going at him more, trying to get into his head to try to take him out of his game, to try to get another card out of him or something like that?
Um, Honestly, I think from sitting in the stands, listening to Cheney, because Cheney is a very loud player, he projects his voice very well. Um, I don't think Omaha had to do too much to get into his head. I
Mhm.
mean, he was chirping at the ref and at his own players all match long. So um, I don't think it had anything to do with him missing a couple shots. Well, one shot in particular, but um, I don't necessarily know that it was really needed to get into Cheney's head. I think Cheney was in his own head part of that match.
So what I'm trying to allude to is the fact that he was getting as heated as he was. Would you have liked to see? He didn't even get a yellow card during the entire match. Would
Nope.
you have liked to see him get into card trouble and possibly even cause Madison to go down a man?
Well, no, I never. I mean, as a Union Omaha fan, yes, I would love to see Forward Madison go down a van. But as just a fan of the league itself, no, I want to see two full strength squads play.
Yeah.
Um, and especially a rival. I'd much rather Omaha beat Madison um, with a full squad for Madison than to beat him with a man down. So um, that being said, I'm not going to try. I'm trying to try to not talk about refereeing situations a whole lot this season. It did seem like there was a little bit of inconsistency, um, but it's also early for the referees, so I'll uh, I'll let it slide a little bit at the beginning of the season. But consistency is all I ask.
And Blue Penguin sent in a comment here, or a comment and a question. Don't know if you'll cover it, but since you mentioned Omaha looking gassed, Union Omaha made 3 subs, 2 after the 72nd minute, and Madison made 2, both at the 72nd minute. Thoughts on that? Let me go over to the substitution here. So it looks like they subbed on. So they subbed on 2 guys for their midfield.
Hmm.
And given the fact that they were sinking back into a 5-3-2 as quickly and efficiently as they were, especially with their midfield taking up valuable space in the middle of the field, um, it was probably. Let me take a look at one more thing here. Yeah, so Messias was on the right mid, and Bartman was in as a central mid. So given the fact that Messias was matching up with Joe Gallardo and Steinwasser was all over the place on Sunday, and Joe Gallardo was causing all kinds of problems. So the fact that he was lined up against those guys advancing forward, not even mentioning Connor Doyle getting into the mix, or even Swahi advancing up the field, those were causing him all kinds of problems. But I mean, Messias even still had a good match on Sunday afternoon. Bartman, I think, was a good substitution because you needed to you need to get some fresh legs into the middle of the field. You needed to keep Union Omaha's offense honest. And by having those 2 substitutions come in, it kind of goes along with some of those adjustments that Matt Glazer was making in the second half, and they proved to be the right choices in the end. I mean,
Mhm.
credit to Glazer for the decisions he made.
Yeah. Um, I think the players looked a little bit gassed because it was difficult for them to try to play through that Madison midfield, because they were swarming the ball and nobody was getting to the ball or around a Madison defender without some contact, and that wears on you pretty good. Um, so yeah, Matt Glazer just had the game plan in that second half that he knew how to play Union Omaha. All credit to him, but I think judging by the look of the subs for Union Omaha, um, you weren't getting production out of Steinwasser and Meza. So you bring on two more strikers to um, to try to get some more production, and um, you have to work Dos Santos in because he joined the club so late. So bringing him on late like that, he also played very well for coming on as late as he did. It looked like he was really adept at getting the ball, working it into the middle, into the box. Um, and then Dion Akoff comes out and is replaced by Shaft Brewer Jr. Akoff was actually on a yellow as well. Um, and if he's going to be one of your starting guys like he was for this, you don't want to get him into any foul trouble. Um, and of course, Shaft Brewer Jr. picks up a yellow card himself in the 15 minutes he was on the pitch. But
Yeah.
they look more like tactical subs to me. I don't necessarily think it had too much to do with the fitness level of the players.
I was surprised to see Shaft come on in the 85th, though.
Hmm. Yeah, Dion was also making a lot of runs and a lot of track backs. When you're playing that right back position, especially in the style that Union Omaha was playing, your right and left backs are getting up the pitch quite a bit. So he
Hmm.
was doing quite a bit of running and quite a bit of tracking back. He was also trying to play some of these players like Onan and Gebhard, who are fast players. We saw that when Madison almost scores at the death too. That was just made by a great run. I believe it was Gebhard that made the run um, down that left side for Madison, and nobody was keeping up with him.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I agree with you there. Derek Gebhard was a huge problem for Union Omaha in those closing minutes. I think they had two really close chances there in extra time. I mean, even in the last minute of extra time, they were putting shots on goal.
mhm, yep. So, I mean, if we want to go with our stars for this one, top scorer and outstanding goalkeeper, uh, I'm going to give this the nod for this first star to Rashid Nuhu. Um, I mean, he made 5 saves, so um, 5 saves to the one goal. Um, it's not bad. The highly influential player, I'm going to go. Oh, I'm going to go with Christian Cheney. He definitely influenced the game, had a lot of shots, and was able to get open quite a bit against the back line of Union Omaha. And my last player worthy of recognition, I mean, I talked about him earlier, but Garrett Gebhard for Forward Madison made a lot of runs and made a lot of key plays to get Madison in positions to take those shots on goal. So definitely an impact player and definitely worthy of recognition. So, um, we can jump into the news here. Oh, this is pretty much joint news for Union Omaha and Forward Madison. Um, Both clubs announced that they are going to continue the unified series between the two. Both are going to host a home match in conjunction with Special Olympics of Nebraska and Special Olympics of Wisconsin. Um, I did ask on Twitter if the club was planning on doing another signing day for Union Omaha's unified team, and Peter Marlett said that that was the plan. So hopefully, when they release the information for that, we can get a bunch of people out because that was a really cool event to go to last year, and just um, a really cool thing that Madison and Omaha did last year and are continuing to do.
And from that sit down, it sounds like there's going to be another club introduced to the series as well.
Yeah, I believe Peter Marlett said that almost every team has in the league has said that they want to do it and are just working on the logistics of it now. So
Yep.
that would be
And
really cool.
there was another club that he mentioned for this season. Should we are we announcing it here, or
I
are we
don't
waiting for the club to announce it?
I don't remember. I don't remember what club it was, to be honest.
It was a USL Championship club.
That
It
I
was
don't know.
Switchbacks.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think it. I mean, if he said it out in public, I think we should be okay.
Yeah, and they posted the video from the hangout, so
Yeah,
I
should
think
be
we're okay
fine.
there.
So yeah, championship squad, as well doing it. So I mean, credit to the switchbacks as well, and hopefully this turns into something that every team does, and at least for one match for every team, we can get a unified series match before or after the League One match. That would be really cool.
Mhm.
I know I would stick around for each one of those.
Yeah, I know I would too. Yeah,
It's a very it's a very high level of soccer too. There's quite a bit of very technical players out there for both
yeah,
of these teams last year. So looking
yeah.
forward to seeing who they bring in this season.
I was I was surprised at the level of play, and that made it even more fun to watch, to see everybody out there, and they were having so much fun, and they were getting really into it, and all the fans that were feeding that energy, they were soaking it up and they were loving it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Parliament bringing the drums over um, and everything, and everybody kind of migrating over to one side so we could all be together and cheer on both unified teams. That was great.
I think outside of Omaha and Madison and the other clubs that we've discussed, I think the biggest news of the week came out of Fuego. Excuse me, I got the burps. Um, with all of their player signings, I mean, we could
Hmm.
try to go through all those players, but man, they have signed or at least they have
Yeah,
announced so many signings that man,
we'll be
it's just crazy to look through all the players they've signed and try to discuss them all.
yeah. We'll have another 3.5 hour show if we decided to do that.
Yeah. So we gave them enough shit for not having a roster. Now they have one, and yeah,
We
and
don't want to talk about it.
it just feels bad that we can't sit here and go through the players and announce them. But
No, you
if you
guys.
want to go out to their website, go out to their social
Yeah.
media. They have a very high Instagram social media. They're very active there.
Oh, okay. That would also explain why I haven't really seen them because I don't ever check my Instagram. So
Yeah.
heads up if anybody ever sends me anything on Instagram, I don't check it. So actually, you know what? That's where I want you to send your hate mail for me. Just send it to my Instagram, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I check it.
And the other big topic we should be discussing is the US Open Cup. It starts next, well, for USL League One clubs, it starts next week.
Hmm.
And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, there are League One clubs that are involved in matches in the Open Cup. And so we will go through all those matches here and now, and get those all out into the open so you guys know what's coming your way. Um, so starting off on Tuesday, there are two USL League One teams involved in matches, both kicking off at 6 p.m. Central Time. Madison is hosting Chicago House AC, who plays in the Midwest Premier League. And in order to get to Madison, they had to beat Bavarian United, which I believe is out of Milwaukee, and they beat them 1-0.
Hmm.
And then One Knox is hosting Memphis 901 FC of the USL Championship. Um,
Upset,
and yeah, upset alert right there because Memphis 901 has not won a match in their championship season yet.
and they do not look very good.
Yeah,
So I'm
because they
calling
don't have
that
Devin
one.
Boyce anymore.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm calling that one as a cup set, and I am calling it right now.
I'll call Madison on the first one. That'll be a fun one to watch.
Chicago House
Uh,
is a very, very good team.
they are, yeah. Surprisingly, I mean, they were good. And if you haven't gone online, go to Joe Chats. He has been out to several practices, training sessions with the club, and he's gotten some interviews out there. So they have some quotes ahead of the match. At least they did before their match against Bavarian. I can't remember if he's been out there since, but he's active in the Chicago soccer scene. He's been out to some matches, so he'll help you out with that coverage. On Wednesday, there are a few matches that kick off at 6 p.m. Central Time again, Central Time. Charlotte hosts Appalachian FC. Appalachian FC is from Boone, North Carolina. They play in the National Premier Soccer League, the NPSL. They have not started their season yet, but in order to give themselves the opportunity to play against Charlotte in Charlotte, they had to defeat NC Fusion, who plays in USL 2, in the first round. And they went 2-2 in regulation time, but won 3-0 in PKs. So that one could be pretty interesting to watch. But I'm still calling Charlotte on that one too.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go with Charlotte. Especially when, I mean, granted, Charlotte's only two at most two matches into their season, but it
Yeah,
still beats a team that hasn't started yet.
exactly. And same Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. Lexington is going to be traveling to Louisville City FC, who
Oof,
is a USL Championship club.
oof.
And Louisville City has started their season with 2 wins and 1 loss. This is going to be a tough one for Lexington.
Hmm.
I'm going to be rooting for Lexington, but I think Louisville City has got this one.
Yeah, yeah,
Who's the player from Union Omaha who uh, has a connection to Louisville City? Oh, let me go.
sure.
It is. I'll recognize him when I see his picture. He's a defender. He's a young guy. Anderson Holt. I think I think he comes from that that club's academy, doesn't he? And I think his
Sure.
dad works in their academy as well. Do-do-do.
That I am not sure on.
Where's his?
Yeah, this I mean, it's gonna be tough sledding for Lexington going up against one of the premier USL championship sides.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, that could be a huge springboard for this Lexington side. You get a win over a perennial powerhouse of USL championship in your first round matchup. That sets you up very well for the rest of the season. And will also give you a ton of momentum going into um, the rest of the League One season. So be on the lookout for that. But I am sorry, Tyler. I can't see Lexington getting past this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But stranger
Um,
things have happened, such as Union Omaha beating two MLS sides too. So
yeah, that's also very true. All right, and then later on Wednesday evening, just a half hour later, we have another match. I'm sorry, we have two more matches. North Carolina hosting Loudoun United of the USL Championship. Loudoun United is from Leesburg, Virginia. Just they're outside of DC,
mhm,
and they've started their USL Championship season with a one win, one draw, one loss. So they are very even in their match. So that could be a potential upset for North Carolina.
mhm.
Another
um,
one where I'll be rooting for North Carolina. I'm going to be rooting for all the League One
oh yeah,
clubs. I'll just throw out that blanket statement.
League One versus all y'all.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna go with Loudon on this one. Um, this is not last year's Loudon team that kind of was a laughing stock of championship. Um, they are much improved this season. Um, but I think this one will definitely be close. But I still am going to take Loudon.
yep. And then also at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, we have Chattanooga hosting Birmingham Legion of the USL Championship. So um, they have started their season with 2 wins, one draw, and zero losses. So they have started off very hot.
Looking good.
Yeah, Kaler, I don't know if you're going to be going to that one, but if you are, I'm looking forward to the footage you provide to all the fans out there of your work. So bring it on, buddy.
Yeah. Um, I got Birmingham in this one.
Yeah, I agree. They're looking really good. I watched their match I think last week, and yeah, it was a fun one to watch.
Mhm.
And then Tormenta is hosting Rio Grande Valley Toros, also of the USL Championship. And the Toros have had three straight draws to start their season. So another potential upset there.
Yeah. I'm calling this one an upset. I think Tormenta takes them.
Yeah, I like that pick. And then Wednesday at 7, Union Omaha hosts El Paso Locomotive, also a USL Championship club, where head coach Dominic Casiato used to be an assistant coach. And El Paso Locomotive has had 1 win, zero draws, and three losses to start the season. So this one could be an interesting one to watch as well.
Upset season, baby. Omaha
Yeah,
beats El Paso.
yeah. And a rematch of last year's U.S. Open Cup. Northern Colorado travels to Colorado Springs to face the Switchbacks, another USL Championship club. And the Switchbacks have started their season 1 win, one draw, one loss.
Another
So
cup set.
they exactly they upset them last year. Now why not upset them this year?
Yep, I'm going with another cup set. Northern Colorado takes them.
Yeah. And oh man, these kickoff times get later and later.
Hmm.
Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, Fuego hosts Monterey Bay of the USL Championship, and Monterey Bay has had 1 win, one draw, one loss as well.
Got
We
to
have
take.
not yet seen Fuego
Hmm.
play. They did have a good outing against Pachuca in
Hmm.
a friendly where they finished 0-0 in regulation time, and then they lost 3-1 in PKs.
Hmm.
So there's some promising. momentum on their end in that one too. So upset.
Not for me. Not on this one. I got to take
Yeah,
Monterey Bay. We just don't know enough about Fuego. I don't know if that if that was even the first team that Central Valley played. So
true.
could have been their second or academy side that they brought in. Who knows?
Very true.
So um, until I see Central Valley actually play a match, I can't really say anything about them. So Monterey Bay.
Yeah. And then Wednesday at 9:30 Central Time. Last one on Wednesday. Greenville travels to Phoenix Rising of the USL Championship. I'm not a fan of this one. I've spoken about that before. But in lieu of that, Phoenix Rising has started their USL Championship season with 0 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. So potential for Greenville to get in there and make a play.
Yeah, I'm gonna call this one a cup set as well. I like
Nice.
Greenville's chances against Phoenix.
Cool. I like them too. And then the only USL League One match on Thursday is going to be Richmond hosting Cleveland SC, who plays in the National Premier Soccer League, the NPSL, who has also not started their season yet, but found themselves into the second round of the US Open Cup by defeating Lionsbridge FC of the USL 2 in the first round. So that one should be a good victory for Richmond.
Yeah, I got Richmond taking this one as well.
Yeah. All right, so that's the US Open Cup. Now we can get into week 3 of League One matches. So we have 5 matches all on Saturday evening.
Hmm.
And there are 2 clubs with a bye week, Madison and Greenville, so they can take the weekend off, enjoy all the matches in their splendor. And there are 2 matches at 5 p.m. Central. There's a match at 6 p.m. Central, and there are 2 at 6:30 p.m. Central. So we have Knoxville hosting Union Omaha,
Yep.
first ever meeting. We have Richmond hosting Charlotte, who are currently first and second place in the standings. So that'll be a fun one to watch.
Mm.
Then we have North Carolina hosting Lexington. And then the 2 6:30s are Chattanooga hosting Central Valley. So we finally get to see Central Valley play.
Finally.
Yes. And then Tormenta hosting Northern Colorado. Oh, that's going to be a fun one.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Um. Oh, let's see. Trying to see. Yeah, one might as well go with some predictions. I will say the match that I'm most excited to watch outside of Knoxville and Omaha is Tormenta and Northern Colorado.
Yep.
That's
Me
going to be
too.
a really good one. I
Yep.
agree
Me
with you
too.
on that, Rich. But Richmond and Charlotte is also very intriguing.
Yeah.
It just
Sure is.
unfortunately is at the same time as my team is playing, so
Yep.
I can only really watch one. But um, well, so for that first match, Rich, who are you? Who are you leaning? Omaha or Knoxville?
Uh, I am going to go with. I'm going to go with an. Oh man. Um, I'm going to go with an Omaha win, but the reason I'm saying that is because I think it's going to be a showcase of One Knox's defense. Because I think traffic is going to be one way the entire time with Union Omaha. I don't think there's going to be as much action from One Knox in Omaha's half. So I'm going to take Omaha for the win in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've got Omaha over Knoxville, 2-0. I think Rashid Nuhu gets his first clean sheet this season. So the next one on the docket is Richmond hosting Charlotte. Who do you have in that one?
I am, let's see, it's Richmond's home opener.
Hmm.
It's first versus second place. Charlotte. Um, Richmond has good defense. Charlotte has some offensive. Richmond can battle in those low scoring matches. They can counter. They're more complete. I'm going to go with a Richmond win.
Actually, going to go opposite. I'm going to go Charlotte 2-1.
That was my initial suspicion too. Yeah. I really wanted to start off with just going with my heart and saying Charlotte win.
Hmm. Yeah, they look a little better than I thought they were going to be, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure some of these picks will change before the weekend, but here and now, as we sit here talking about it,
Right.
that's where I'm sitting.
All right. So our third match, we have NCFC versus Lexington, or NCFC hosting Lexington.
I'll take North Carolina in that one for a win.
Yeah, I got North Carolina winning that one as well. Put a score on all the rest of them. 3-1 North Carolina.
Wow, 3-1. Okay.
3-1. Yeah, I just don't think Lexington is going to be fully into their stride quite yet, especially after sitting out this week after the loss the loss against Knoxville and Lexington not having Don Smart for this match.
Ah, true. Yeah. Good point.
So yeah, I will go 3-1. Next up on the docket is Chattanooga hosting Central Valley Fuego.
See, this one could be a trap
Hmm.
because Charlotte has, oh, who do they have in US Open Cup? They have Birmingham Legion. So they could be putting their entire focus on beating that USL club. Um, at the same time, Central Valley has Monterey. And then Central Valley has to travel across the country from Wednesday to Saturday night. Chattanooga's already had 90 minutes in front of the Den.
Sorry, I'm still not sure about.
Shut up.
Not sure
Um,
about this match either.
yeah, I am gonna go with. I'm still not entirely convinced of Chattanooga's offensive production, so I'm gonna go with a draw on this one, 1-1.
Read my mind. It's exactly where I was going.
Yeah,
Don't know a whole lot about either team, um, but I feel like 1-1 as well.
yeah.
And then our final match, Tormenta hosting Northern Colorado.
Oh, I feel like this one could be a high scoring affair. Um, oh, and this will be so you got Pablo Hara playing in goal for Tormenta, and then you have um oh, what's his name? It's not Zendejas. Northern Colorado's goalkeeper. He hasn't started yet.
Oh, wait 2 seconds. Delgado.
No, it's their other goalkeeper. Doesn't it start with a P? Peñaranda.
Oh, yeah.
So because he had that suspension at the end of 2022, he had to serve his suspension this week, and that's why Lalo got the start against Chattanooga this week. So Peñaranda is the anticipated starting goalkeeper for this weekend. So it'll be interesting to see him back in net. So Tormenta versus, oh, this is a tough one. Tormenta has a good back line. Northern Colorado has good feeds up top. Tormenta has a good top line. I'm gonna go. Oh man, this is gonna be a super close one. I'm gonna go Tormenta 2-1.
I'm gonna go actually with the upset and Northern Colorado 2-1.
I love it. I love it.
Northern Colorado gets it done, hands Tormenta their second loss at home. Um, but that's just kind of what you get with Northern Colorado. Sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're cold.
Yeah.
In this instance, I think there will be a storm, but it's going to be a hailstorm.
Ooh, I like it. There's
Hope,
some spice in there. I like
hope,
it.
hopefully, the boys over at Linners and Woozers like that one.
Oh, by the way, I saw your chat with them on Twitter. I didn't get a chance to respond in time. Um, but yeah, Linners and Woozers, if you guys end up coming out for the Northern Colorado versus Union Omaha match, let us know. We would love to hang out with you. We would love to chat with you and get um, some time in with you guys. That'd be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
And I certainly plan on heading out to Northern Colorado later this year. I think that one is in early to mid August, if I remember correctly.
Something like that. Yeah.
But I plan on certainly making that trip out to Northern Colorado for that match. So hopefully we can spend some time together during that trip too.
Yeah. I'm going to try to make that one as well.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I checked our Twitter earlier and I didn't see any questions, but we did have questions along the way
Yep.
in the live stream chat here. So
Yeah.
um,
I don't see any on our Twitter right now. So we just had the ones that everybody in the live chat sent us in, which we
yeah.
appreciate.
So thank you everybody for tuning in and submitting those comments and submitting those questions. They were actually really good questions. They were interesting comments. So yeah, we appreciate you guys getting in and being active with the show. That was fun.
Hmm. Yep.
All right,
Well,
so we have week 3 coming this weekend, and
mhm,
then we have the second round of US Open Cup starting next Tuesday. There are plenty of matches ahead. We have week 3, we have US Open Cup, we have week 4. Actually, no, it'll be week 3 still. No, it'll be week 4 at
that'll
that
be week
point. It'll be
four.
week
Yep.
4.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we have plenty of soccer coming your way, which means that we have plenty of stuff to throw your way. We have plenty of content. So stay tuned for more League One on the Rocks. We're going to give you guys a bunch of content. We're going to have more discussions. Tune in on those Friday and Sunday night call-in shows, so you can actually have your literal voice heard on the podcast. We
Hmm.
want to make sure that all of you are included in everything that's happening.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun last time. If you guys haven't caught it, go ahead and check the YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Rich got those put up on the podcast app today. So um, yeah, go ahead and go check them out. Or was it yesterday?
Yeah,
Was it yesterday?
it was yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Not today. Yesterday. Um, but still, go listen to them. It was a great time, and you get to hear a little bit more of Rich and I kick back and not as formal.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say we're super formal on this show, but
no,
definitely more casual.
yeah. We try to go, provide a bunch of content for the live YouTube shows, and then for the podcast we try to edit it down so that we can give a pretty good, representation of the show during those episodes. But if you want all of the content that we have to provide, I mean, here we are talking, I mean, over 2 hours later. I'm
Hmm.
going to be editing that down to like an hour and a half. So I mean, it's great that you're joining in and interacting with us for the entire discussion, for the entire show. So That's the best way to get every bit of information that we have to throw your way. The actual podcast episodes are going to be the abbreviated versions of the shows.
Mhm. Yep. All
All
right.
right. Well, thank you for tuning into another show of League One on the Rocks. We appreciate you listening and watching and submitting questions and comments. So tune in for more, and we'll certainly have more coming your way.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.